I'm aware that many of you have expressed a desire for online counseling, and to that effect, we have a sponsor who will help you and assist you in that respect. So if you will, go beneath the video, you'll find a link to our online counseling sponsor. They have a whole team of counselors that can help you. Practice self-care. Get the help that you need. It's quite common to hear people inside my profession talk about the necessity of self-love. And you can count me as one of those who believes that that's truly an essential part of having a good and balanced and healthy life. Now, it's one thing to talk about having self-love. By the way, there are some people who are self-enamored. They feel entitled. They feel like they should be getting, be on the receiving end of all sorts of praise, but that's not self-love. That leans in the direction of narcissism, of course. But when we talk about self-love, there are various behaviors and attitudes that you find are going to be commonplace that illustrate what you believe on the inside in such a way that it comes out in appropriate lifestyle patterns on the outside. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to highlight 10 different ways that you can tell if a person truly has self-love. And as I go through these, I want you to just kind of take an inventory of where you are with respect to these. So let's go through them. One of the first ways that you can tell if a person has self-love is you don't have to apologize for who you are. Now, I want you to think, how many times might you have somebody who is a critic, or they're harsh, or they blame you, or they argue with you? And before you know it, you find yourself in a very defensive pattern. They're being offensive, so you find yourself being defensive, and you justify yourself too much. You feel like you have to explain more than is really necessary, and you feel like you have to rationalize why it's okay for you to be you. Typically, by the way, you find that when you do that, that offensive person isn't going to say, oh, well, now that you put it that way, they're just going to double down and keep coming at you. If you have a self-love, you realize, okay, there are offensive people out there and they do what they do for their own personal reasons. I don't think I need to get caught in having to explain myself too heavily to those individuals. That's when you know that you have a true self-acceptance or self-love. A second indicator is you don't feel the need to force an agenda. Unhealthy people and people who are trying to justify how wonderful they are, they're trying to force an agenda onto other individuals. It's kind of their way of thinking, if I can make everybody else believe the way I do, then that means I'm okay. Healthy individuals, though, it's like, yeah, I've got my beliefs and my preferences, but you have yours. And if your beliefs or your preferences or your interpretations of things differ from mine, I'm okay with that. Doesn't mean that I have to have everybody just line up exactly the way I do. That's a sign of confidence when you're able to think that way. And you have enough of a comfort with who you are that you can let other individuals be what they are. How about a third indicator? And that is when you blunder or when you err, you can see that as being a growth opportunity. You ever made mistakes? I have. Have you ever miscalculated, or you look back on the last year or 5 years ago or 15 years ago and think, man, I did some things that in retrospect, I wish I could have done it differently. Well, what you can do is you can say, yeah, and every time that I can see those things, those become opportunities for growth. And I'm hoping that as you grow, then you're going to be willing and able to look at your mistakes and ask, what lesson is learned out of this? And I'm going to take that lesson and apply it. And so you're constantly in a forward-leaning kind of way. And this leads to a fourth indicator, which is tightly associated with this. When you have failures in your life, and again, notice I use the word when, not if, you don't wallow in humiliation. Not only do you see your mistakes and your errors as opportunities for growth, you don't feel like you have to hold on to harsh shame and guilt. I mean, yes, you do want to feel guilt when it's necessary, but it's a restorative emotion. It doesn't have to be an emotion that ties you down. If you feel guilty, rather than thinking, well, That means my worth has just gone way down and I'll never be able to get it back. No, rather than doing that and rather than wallowing in humiliation, you can have a sense of restoration that says, yeah, the guilt is there for a reason. I'm listening to it and I'm somebody that responds well. How about a fifth indicator? And that is you have balance in your use of anger. Now notice that I am not saying you don't have anger, but let's think in terms of two different directions. Unhealthy people have very strong anger where it just comes out way too quickly, way too easily, way too forcefully. Or sometimes it can be in the other direction and they can suppress it or they can hold it in, or maybe they have self-directed insults, or maybe they're passive aggressive. Healthy, self-loving individuals know that they feel angry. They don't feel the need to suppress, nor do they feel the need to overwhelm individuals. They can speak their truth, but they can do it in a clean, assertive kind of way where ideally people could walk away with their dignity intact. You don't have to blow people away. Or a sixth indicator of your own self-love is you're able to appreciate the successes of other individuals. People that have healthy self-love don't struggle with envy. You know, when somebody else has something good happen or they have a claim, rather than thinking, well, I wish that could have been me, instead, it's like, you know, I like it when nice things happen with me. I'm so pleased that the good things happen to you too. And you're able to share your joy at the positives in other people's lives, just as you like to share your own positives. A seventh indicator that you can have healthy self-love and self-acceptance is when you have bad moods. You're able to let them run their course in a reasonable kind of manner. Have you ever had a day where you just weren't feeling your best, where you were, for whatever reason, annoyed or irritable or agitated? We all have those days, and you can allow yourself the privilege or just the humanity, let's call it, to have that. But you don't have to dwell on it. They don't last forever. There's some people when they're in a bad mood, it's like, well, how long is this going to last? And how ugly is this going to get? You can allow yourself to have moods. Sometimes you just need to declare to other individuals, I'm not having my best day. I just need to pull back and just relax and get my head together. But you allow it to be there, even as you know you're in a forward-moving kind of progression. How about an eighth indicator of healthy self-love? And that is, you don't really feel the need to show off your skills or your capabilities in an undue kind of way. Now, of course, I think it's wonderful if you have good skills or good capabilities, and it may be that you have an expertise in a certain subject, whether it's in your performances or in your knowledge, and certainly you're not going to just put a lid on it and not let it come out. But at the same time, you don't have to draw undue attention. Let people figure out who you are and what your positives are in their own timing without you having to compensate for the fear that they may never notice that in you. Let your skills be what they are. People will figure out if they want to. A ninth indicator of healthy self-love is you're a person of gratitude. You know, when you love yourself, it's like, you know, I'm really pleased that good things are on the inside of me. But then in addition, you can say, yeah, and many of the good things that are on the inside of me are there because of many other people who've contributed to my life. And you're able to give credit to other individuals. You show appreciation. You have a thankful heart. You're able to find things that are right and good in other individuals because you realize there's an interconnectedness to all of that. And then a 10th indicator is you have a good sense of humor. How many people do you know that have healthy self-love and they just can't laugh? It just seems inconsistent, doesn't it? When you have a sense of humor, you realize not everything has to be taken seriously, and sometimes life can be a little farcical or it just doesn't make sense, and you can lean into it. You don't have to be sarcastic, and you don't have to be biting with your humor, but you can laugh and you can smile easily, and I'm hoping you're known as somebody that's able to do that. So there you have it. You have 10 different indicators that says, you know, there's a calmness, there's a contentment, there's a sense of well-being on the inside of you. And I'm hoping that those are characteristics that you'll give emphasis to. And in doing so, you can let other individuals know, I'm comfortable with me. If you'd like, perhaps you can be comfortable with me as well. But if not, I'm still going to be okay. That's what healthy self-love leads you to. I hope videos such as this will give you some good stimulus for some introspection and good thought. If you have a need for counseling, I've mentioned many times we have a sponsor. Their link is below, and if you need to, you can look up someone in your own area that can help you, or you can find out how to get counseling from online sources. And if that's the case, I would encourage you to do so. Hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that too, so we can keep more videos coming your way. In addition, we have courses, my Free to Be course, and then on our survivingnarcissism.tv, there's a little tab there that says courses, and it has our webinars and courses and all that are upcoming as well. In addition, we have links below to my books and other resources, so make sure you take advantage of that. Thanks for letting me be on your journey, and I want to see if we can stimulate you towards being the best version of you that you can be. And in doing so, I hope that you can have a healthy influence on other individuals. We need plenty of people who are on Team Healthy that are out there spreading the word of what decent and contented living looks like. And in doing so, it allows you to become a person of peace.